Assalamualaikum and a very good day to everyone. My name is Muhammad Syaputra Bezirhan. Today we will be presenting the topic of dissolution of a company. The dissolution of a company in Malaysia involves the legal process of ending its existence. It can happen voluntarily or involuntarily, which is initiated by the company's shareholders or creditors or through a court order in cases of insolvency. Typically, there will be a liquidator liquidating assets and settling debts and distributing remaining funds to creditors and those shareholders. A notice will be given to the Company of Commission of Malaysia is gonna be required, and the process may involve public attention. Compliance with legal requirement is crucial, and professional advice is often sought for a smooth dissolution process. Once a company is dissolved, it will no longer exist as a legal entity and cannot conduct business or enter into contracts. Dissolution may also trigger a number of certain legal obligations, such as the distribution of remaining assets to creditors or shareholders, and might involve a lot of filing of tax returns.
Good evening to my respectful lecturer and dear classmates. I'm Session Mohan here. Today I'm going to present the method of dissolutions of the company. When we talk about the method of dissolutions of company, they have two methods, which is voluntary winding up and winding up by court. When we talk about the winding up by voluntary, which is the situations referred to the company which is willing to close the company due to certain circumstances, or there is no reason to continue the company. It's usually taken by the decision of the shareholders and also the CEO of the company. When we talk about the winding by the court, is usually the court is giving the order to the company to close the company due certain circumstances, usually such like bankruptcy, or the company is not more take place in the good positions or in economics. So that is the two method of the company, the dissolutions of the company. That's all for me. Thank you.
A very good day to Madam and all my fellow friends. So my name is Kelvin, and today I will present about the general rules and principle. First and foremost, according to Section 465 of Company Act 2016, it has been listed out 12 circumstances under a company that be owned by the court. For instance, the circumstances may relate to the affairs and conduct of the company, which may include where the company has no member or are unable to bear its debt. If looked from one angle, the other condition is where the court is of the view that it's just and equitable to wind up of the company. For example, a compulsory winding up commences on the date of the winding up order. Apart from that, upon the court's order for liquidation, all directors, officers, and employees of the company are effectively dismissed. It's because the court order also amounts to stay of any execution in which is either a plaintiff or a defendant. So according to this act, right, any disposition of the property of the company made by the company after the presentation of the winding up petition shall be void, unless approved by the court. All right, so next I will present about who can be filed for the petition for winding up of a company. So in order for us to wind up a company, right, there are 7 individuals that will can be winding up in this process. So the first is a company. Secondly is creditors. The thirdly will be shareholders. The fourth will be contingent or prospective creditors. The fifth will be registrar, and the sixth will be liquidators, and the last but not least is the person authorized on behalf of the state of central government. So these 7 individuals, they can wind it up of a company based on the Company Act 2016. All right, so next I will explain further about a declaration of solvency. So what is a declaration of solvency? A declaration of solvency is defined in Section 443 of Company Act 2016. It is essentially a declaration by the directors of the company that after having made an inquiry into the affairs of the company. For instance, the director have formed the opinion that the company will be able to pay its debt in full within 12 months from the commencement of the winding up. So for further information, due to the strict wording of the Act, Section 443 cross 1 and 443 cross 4, this is a mandatory to hold a meeting of director in order to make this declaration of solvency. For instance, the same applies even in this case of a single director. So in the declaration of solvency, right? So this must be attached with the company statement of affairs. On top of that, the statement of affairs should contain the asset of the company, including how much is to be realized from the same, and the liability of the company and the estimated expenses of winding up. So after the declaration of solvency have been made, so it must be lodged with the registrar of companies before notice are sent out to the members. So next, I will explain about the procedure of voluntary or winding up of a company. So the first procedure is they must implement out the board meeting. Secondly, they must have a declaration of insolvency, and this is optional. Thirdly, they must have a notice of EGM with their members. And fourth, they must have a notice of creditor meetings in this process. Next, they must have an EGM also, and the next step, they should have creditor meetings between each other. Next, they should have do a public announcement to the public through from next newspaper or through the media social. And if you look, the next step is they must appoint a liquidator in this process. And last but not least, they should wind up process commence. So next, I will explain about the procedure of compulsory winding up process. So the first, they should do the petition to the courts, and they should granting of the order and appoint the liquidator. And thirdly, they should make a statement of affairs, and they should make the report, which is the liquidator report, to the courts. And next, they should do the asset distribution and the final meeting. And next, they should discharge the liquidator and start off the company can be made. All right, so next I will present about the liquidator and COR procedures. So what is liquidator and COR procedure? So actually, liquidator, if requested by any creditor or contributory shall summon separate meetings of the creditors and contributors for the purpose of determining whether or not the creditors of contributors require the appointment of a committee of inspection. So actually, COI represent the interests of the creditors during the ongoing winding up and can act as a check and balance to the powers of the liquidator and to protect the rights of the creditors. Subsequently, upon the appointment of the liquidator, all the powers of the trader shall case. And lastly, liquidator shall be remunerated as prescribed in the rules, and a member, creditor and liquidator and apply to court to reveal the remunerations. All right, so next I will present about how the impact on legal proceeding. In fact, similar to a company compulsory winding up, the commencement of a creditor voluntary winding up will stay a legal proceeding against the company. As such, no action or any proceeding shall be proceeded with or commenced against the company excepted by leave of the court and subject to the terms as the court impose. So that's all from my part, and thank you for lending me your ears. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum, and very good evening to Madam and all. So my name is Nurzaiti Emilia binti Muhammad Zafrina. So I'm going to explain about the case law, which is a two case law. The first one is Coca-Cola Refreshment Malaysia Sdn Bhd against Lee G Capital Sdn Bhd. So in this case, the fact of the case is the plaintiff, which is the Coca-Cola Refreshment, was the creditor of the company to the Lee G Capital Sdn Bhd company. And in this case, Coca-Cola was have a debt amount 1.4 billion towards to Lee G Capital on 40 August 2020. So, as per mentioned, supposedly that the creditor were informed that the company asset amount will be RM 1055 and total liability is amount 2.4 million. But the company had only two creditors, which is Coca-Cola and the individual that's named Tan Sri David Chang, that contribute with the Lee G Capital Syndrome Berhad. So in this case, Tan Sri used to be a director and shareholder of the company, and Coca-Cola also proceeded at the meeting nominee and eligibility liquidator candidate to be the liquidator. So means that the Coca-Cola was using that money for their own use, which is with the Tan Sri by not knowing by Lee G Capital Syndrome Berhad. So court held that Coca-Cola and Associates saw a declaration that the first liquidated candidate appointment was invalid, which is the Lee G Capital was invalid, and then the alternative liquidated candidate should be appointed of the company alternative, and then court held to make a new procedure to meet the following findings. So the next one is the case of Lita System Aldicap Syndrome Berhad against Lee Tia Hock and Lee Soo Hoon. So this case is based on the company, which is the business driving institute business that whereby they were director and shareholder of the company. On the other hand, one Lee Tia Hock was the biggest shareholder in this Lita System Aldicap Syndrome Berhad. So, but both the petition was removed as director by the Lita System Aldicap, which is the first one is Lee Tia Hock and also Lee Soo Hoon. It is because three circumstances, which is the money leading license belonging to LTK in his own sole proprietorship and also was transferred to the company without any payment. Second is because the company take over the money lending business from Enterprise for the consideration of 77,000 ringgit, and also 100,000 ringgit has been transferred or paid to the Enterprise by knowing of the shareholder. This states by amongst other that the company will engage in the money lending business illegally, and the petition filed a winding up petition to wind up the company. So court held that this case must be read together since the licensed business was not included in the money that lending business. So winding up of the company cannot be dismissed based on this.
So in conclusion, liquidation under the Companies Act of 2016, liquidation or winding up will involves a situation in which company ceases its operation and sell all its assets to settle outstanding debts. Liquidation has the primary objective to settle the company's debts before its lifespan is terminated. A liquidator is a professional who handles the affairs of the company under liquidation, so it must be advised to find a liquidator. There are various types of winding up that needs to be viewed before to making any conclusion. Voluntary, initiated by the shareholders and creditors or through the court order in cases of insolvency, which liquidating assets, settling debts, and distribute those remaining funds. That is all for me. Thank you. That is all from us. Thank you.